Namaste. The Sanskrit word Anahat means unstruck. It is a cosmic sound which is continuous and not caused by two objects hitting against each other. The physical trigger point for Anahata Chakra is in the spine, directly behind the center of the chest, in line with the heart. And the Anahata Kshetram or trigger point is at the heart, in the chest center. It is said that in this present age, the people of the world are passing through a phase of Anahata. It means that Anahata Chakra has begun to function in many, many people. Being the center of emotions, the Anahat is very powerful. According to Tantric scriptures, Anahat is the wish-fulfilling center. When a person is at the level of the Anahat, they find that they attain all they hope for. And if they make a resolve, it certainly comes true. So one must be very careful that the thoughts are pure and positive, for evil will manifest just as easily as something positive. However, it is highly unlikely that anyone with evil intentions could rise up to the level of Anahat. Anahata Chakra is the center where one begins to love everyone and all things unconditionally. Tolerance develops, and all things are accepted and loved for what they are. One realizes that although people and objects may have gross aspects and differences, they really are embodiments of perfection. The Anahat is symbolic of the air tattva, Vayu, and is closely related with the sense of touch or feeling, sensations, and with the movement of the hands. In Kundalini Yoga, Anahata Chakra is a center of great importance. This is because although awakening from Manipura is constant, Kundalini has to remain in Anahata for quite a long time. It is said that in this present age, the consciousness of mankind is passing through a phase of Anahat. This means that in many people, Anahata Chakra has started to function. However, there is a difference between functioning and awakening. In most people, Anahat is not completely active, but it functions slightly. Muladhara, on the other hand, is very active and almost awake in the majority of people today. The word Anahat actually means unstruck or unbeaten. This center is known as such because of its relationship with the heart, which throbs, beats, or vibrates in a constant, unbroken rhythm. It is said in many of the scriptures that there is a sound which is non-physical and non-empirical, which is transcendental in nature, and this sound is endless and unbroken, in the same way that the heart beats faithfully and continuously from before birth up until the end. In yoga, the heart center is also known as Hridayakasha, which means the space within the heart where purity resides. This chakra is a very delicate center, for it is directly connected with that part of the brain which is responsible for all the creative sciences and fine arts such as painting, dance, music, poetry, and so on. Anahata belongs to the Mahaloka, the first of the immortal planes. Its Vayu is prana, which passes through the nose and mouth, and its Tanmatra is feeling or touch. The Jnanendriya is the skin, and the Karmendriya is the hands. Anahata represents the Maname Kosha, controlling the mind and emotions. Vishuddhi Granthi, the second psychic knot, is located at this heart center. It represents the bondage of emotional attachment, the tendency to live one's life making decisions on the strength of the emotions and feelings rather than in the light of the spiritual quest. Vishnu Granthi is untied as the emotions harmonize and enhance rather than oppose the spiritual awakening. It is said that the person who meditates on the heart lotus is foremost amongst yogis and adored by others, and that person is preeminently wise and full of noble deeds. Their senses are completely under control, and their mind can be engrossed in intense concentration. Their speech is inspired. Tantric scriptures say that in Anahat, thoughts and desires of the individual are materialized and fulfilled. There are basically two ways of thinking, dependently or independently. Up to the Manipur chakra, the first approach holds true, but once the Shakti perceives Anahat, the second approach takes precedence. As long as the consciousness is centered in the lower chakras, you will remain completely dependent on what is already enjoined for you, your fate or destiny, prarabdha karma. Even the awakening of the lower chakras does not make much difference. Once the consciousness ascends through Manipur, you become master over some of your situations of life, but you are still influenced and bound by your prarabdha karma. You know that you can escape it, but you do not know how. The lower chakras belong to the empirical world of body, mind, and senses. People who accept their fate as inevitable have not yet transcended Muladhara and Swadhisthana chakras. Manipur is still considered earthly, although it lies at the boundary between mortal and immortal planes. Those who actively shape their own destiny through strength of will channeled in a positive direction, which leads to realization and achievement, are in the realm of Manipura. Anahata Chakra is almost completely beyond these empirical dimensions. Here, one realizes that fate is, of course, real, but still one can go totally beyond its dictates. It is like throwing something into the sky. If you're able to hurl that object right out of the gravitational field, then it will no longer be pulled down by the Earth's magnetic forces. Just as a rocket is launched at tremendous speed in order to go beyond the gravitational pull of the Earth, so the consciousness is accelerated in Anahat to the speed of free will in order to transcend the pull of latent samskaras. It is only when you reach Anahata Chakra that you become a yogi. Up until then, whether you are in Muladhara, Swadhisthana, or Manipur, you are a yoga practitioner. In Anahat, you become a yogi because you are completely established in yogic consciousness and you depend solely upon the power of your own consciousness rather than on anything else that is external or concerning faith. In Anahat Chakra, the freedom to escape from a preordained fate and to determine one's own destiny becomes a reality. According to the Tantras, at the root of Anahat, there is a wish-fulfilling tree known as the Kalpataru or Kalpavriksha. When this tree starts to fructify, whatever you think or wish comes true. Ordinarily, we have many wishes, but they rarely assume more than the air of a daydream. However, if they were all to become realities, we would quickly start to question whether we want our wishes fulfilled at all. Most people prefer to depend on fate rather than take the responsibility for creating their own destiny, and well, they should. There is a fine story which is often told to illustrate this. Once, a traveler was sitting underneath a tree. He was feeling very tired and wanted to have a drink. So he thought of a clear stream, and immediately he heard the trickle of water flowing beside him. After drinking some water, he thought he would like to have a little food to satisfy his hunger, and that appeared beside him also. Then, as he was feeling tired and thought he'd like to rest, there appeared before him a nice bed, and so he went to sleep. The foolish man did not know that he had come to rest beneath the wish-fulfilling tree. In the evening, when he awoke, the sun had already set and night had fallen. He got up, and the thought came to his mind, "Oh, it's terribly dark. Perhaps the tigers will come and eat me." And so they did. This is what can happen to anyone who awakens the wish-fulfilling capacity without sufficient preparation. If the consciousness awakens in Anahat, but you do not know the powers of your mind, or you possess negative, pessimistic attitudes, dark approaches to life, apprehensions, fears, and many other negative mental tendencies, then you will immediately fall prey to them. If this happens, you risk the possibility of falling back from Anahat. And if you fall from Anahat, there is hardly any chance of making a second start. To avoid a downfall at this point, it is necessary to always remain as alert as an antelope, which is sensitive to each and every sound. The antelope is the vehicle of Anahat for this reason. It is not the symbol of restlessness, but of alertness. When whatever you wish for comes true, you are very happy. But at the same time, it is necessary to constantly analyze your attitude towards yourself and others. You have to be careful of doubts. For example, if you develop a few palpitations of the heart and think, perhaps I'm developing angina pectoris, or a pain in the abdomen and think, now I have appendicitis or gallbladder disease, such thoughts may bring many problems and disorders in their wake. You must also guard against doubts concerning others. Maybe that man is my enemy. My son is sick. Maybe he'll die. My friend has not contacted me. He must have had an accident. It is important to have a firm and alert control over the mental tendencies and fantasies of the mind. Thoughts concerning the body, husband, wife, children, family, social, economic, or political situations come to us all the time. If Kundalini is asleep, these thoughts have no power. But when Kundalini awakens in Anahata Chakra, all these thoughts suddenly become realities. Unless we are ever alert at this stage, we will place our own destructive hand on our head. In the tantric text Saundara Lahari, this wish-fulfilling process is aptly described as the Chintamani, or wish-fulfilling gem. Here, Chinta applies to the process of selective thought, and Mani means jewel. Therefore, the Chintamani means jewel of correct and positive thinking. In this text, Anahat is described as the garden of Devas. At the center is a small divine lake, which is the Chintamani. It is not necessary to obtain this jewel. As long as you can realize your proximity to it, that is enough. Then whatever you think comes true. When Anahata Chakra blooms and awakens, you must have very good Sangha associations. You should never associate with people who depend on their fate. Rather, you should always associate with those who depend on faith. You must have unswerving faith in the power of your own will. Even in the face of tremendous odds, be unflinching. Then you will succeed. Willpower is never the outcome of suggestion. If you are ill and you say 100 times, I am well, I am well, I am well, this is called autosuggestion. It is not will. Will is something more like this. Even if my son is suffering from the worst disease and medical science has declared that he's about to die, I know he will not. This is how you have to think and use your willpower. The first preparation, therefore, with regards to awakening the Anahat, is to change your entire way of thinking. If you are the type of person whose thoughts and wishes often come true, even when conditions seem to be opposed to that outcome, then it is necessary to develop a certain amount of caution along with a new way of thinking. You must become extremely optimistic and positive, always full of hope. You must never dwell in the negativity of the mind. Physically, mentally, and spiritually, you must be completely at peace with yourself, others, and the whole community at large. Though the world is full of conflicts, contradictions, and deep animosities, you have to always feel deep peace throughout your being. It makes no difference whether you are amidst poverty, suffering, disease, conflict, divorce, emotional crises, and discord. It is all part of the good. Therefore, you accept it. You have to think only one thought resolutely. The whole world is in me, or I am in everyone. When you are able to develop this universal sort of attitude, the Kundalini will shine forth and pierce the fifth chakra, Vishuddhi, the core, the center of immortality. This is the importance and significance of Anahat. Perhaps the best mantra for the heart center is Om Shanti. Om is the universal cosmic vibration which permeates the whole of creation, and Shanti means peace. Peace to the whole universe. Anahata Chakra awakens refined emotion in the brain, and its awakening is characterized by a feeling of universal, unlimited love for all beings. Of course, there are many people in the world who practice kindness and charity, but they have selfishness. Their charity is not an expression of Anahata Chakra and spiritual compassion. It is human compassion. When you have human compassion, you open hospitals and feeding centers, or you give away clothing, money, medicine in charity. But that is human charity. How can we tell the difference between human charity and spiritual charity? In human charity, there's always an element of selfishness. If I want to make you my follower, I can show you great kindness, but that is human kindness. However, when Anahat awakens, all your actions are controlled and ruled by unselfishness, and you develop spiritual compassion. You understand that love does not involve bargaining. It is free of expectation. Every form of love is contaminated by selfishness, even the love you have for God, because you are expecting something from God. Perhaps in this world, the love with minimum selfishness is a mother's love. Of course, it is not totally unselfish, but because a mother's sacrifices are so great, her love has minimum selfishness. The qualities of Anahata Chakra can be awakened by many methods. The symbol of Anahata Chakra is a blue lotus, and in the center are two interlaced triangles. This lotus represents the opening of one's heart. Music, art, sculpture, literature, and poetry are all important aids to the development of the Anahata Chakra. And when Anahat opens, your understanding of all beings changes a lot. There is a story about it. In India, there is a traditional pilgrimage in which sadhaks go north to the source of the Ganga, take some water from there, and carry it across the continent to South India. Here, they go to a temple and pour the holy water over a Shivalingam. The distance they have to cover in this pilgrimage is almost 3,000 miles. Once, a saint had almost completed this pilgrimage, and he was carrying a container full of Ganga water. As he entered the precincts of the temple where he has to bathe the Shivalingam, he found a donkey which was desperately pining for water. He immediately opened his can and gave water to the donkey. His fellow travelers cried out, "Hey, what are you doing? You've brought this water such a long way to give a bath to the Lord Shiva, and here you are giving it to an ordinary animal?" But the saint did not see it that way. His mind was working at a different and much higher frequency. Here's another example. Once, the Lord Buddha was going for an evening walk. He came across an old man, and he was greatly moved by the sufferings of old age. Next, he saw a dead person, and again he was moved very much. How many times do we see old people? We are moved in the same way. Are we moved in the same way as the Lord Buddha was? No, because our minds are different. Awakening of a chakra alters the frequency of the mind and immediately influences our day-to-day relationships with people and our surroundings. Love overcomes ego. Anahata Chakra can be aroused and awakened by the practice of Bhakti Yoga, in which there is no place for egotistical consciousness. Your devotion can be for God or Guru. It is easy to practice devotion to God because He does not check your ego, or even if He does, you do not know about it. Therefore, many people think it is safer to have a guru who's no longer living. Not only is ego an obstacle on the spiritual path, it is also the greatest barrier to harmony and cordiality in family and social life. Therefore, in order to treat the ego, there are two very important paths. One is Karma Yoga and the other is Bhakti Yoga. The ego can never be removed by intellectual persuasion. It can never be subdued or eliminated unless you develop the highest form of love. Just as the sun removes darkness, love removes ego. These two can never coexist. So, in order to induce Anahat awakening, we should definitely practice Bhakti Yoga. When Kundalini is established in Anahat, there is absolute devotion, and even a confirmed atheist will change. However, awakening of Anahat is not only a way to God or Guru, it is also a way to complete unity and harmony in family life. Therefore, in India, most Hindu women are initiated into Bhakti Yoga at a very young age. When they are 4 to 6 years old, they are taught to practice devotion to Lord Shiva, Krishna, Ram, Vishnu, Lakshmi, Durga, and so on, because it is easier for women to develop Anahata Chakra. For this reason, women are also told to use their Anahat as their center for meditation, whereas men are generally advised to concentrate on the Agnya Chakra. Anahat is the seat of human love and the seat of divine love. They are not two things, they are one and the same. Psychic propensities of Anahata Chakra. Prior to the awakening of Anahat, there may be frequent pain in the chest or irregular functioning of the heart, such as accelerated pulse. However, rather than feeling ill, one feels healthy and active and requires little sleep. One obtains complete emotional balance and the ability to communicate externally as well as internally. Voices or sounds coming from other realms may be heard, and buzzing or humming sounds and the music of a flute may be experienced. The sadhaka may become an inspired poet, artist, or singer. They may manifest clairvoyant, clairaudient, psychokinetic ability, or may be able to conquer people by the immensity of love that they emit. A person in Anahat is generally very sensitive to the feelings of others, and their sense of touch is strongly developed. They also have the ability to heal others, either by touch or by generating their own spiritual energy to other people. Many people who perform miraculous healings do so through the agency of Anahata Chakra. With Anahat awakening, one develops non-attachment to worldly things and a constant feeling of optimism, understanding that good and bad coexist. But there is also a world beyond this duality. After ridding oneself of attachment, the mind becomes relaxed, free, and peaceful. And with the discovery of true freedom, pleasures of dualistic life become meaningless. Now you may like to do a little meditation to contemplate all the things you've heard about the Anahata Chakra. Simply sit comfortably with your eyes closed and let the thoughts flow in and out of your mind, and be aware of the feelings in your Anahata Chakra at the chest center. All the best. Namaste. Hari Om.